This is a video for the sheet called Lesson 3 from a very famous drum book called Syncopation. The sheet you have is an excerpt from that. And Lesson 3 is simply quarter notes and rests played between the snare drum and the bass drum. And what you'll see is that wherever the bass drum is playing, the snare drum is not. So in every bar of 4, all the counts are filled either by snare drum or bass drum, except for the first line where you play together. I'm just going to focus on lines 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the video because the process is the same for the rest of the sheet, and I just want to give you the basic idea and somewhere to go with it. So I'm going to demonstrate the first 4 lines. Each line is one pattern that's repeated 4 times. You'll see that there's a letter C where the time signature would normally be, and the time signature is 4/4. Sometimes you'll see C in place of 4/4, and the C stands for common time, because 4/4 is one of the most common time signatures. But remember, it's 4 quarter notes per bar. And this is also written in an older style that is derived from, I guess, orchestral or classical music, where the percussion would be played by multiple people in a section. So the bass drum would be played by somebody different than the snare who's playing the snare drum. I don't think this book was ever intended to be not used by drum set players in that sense, but what you'll notice is that the bass drum has its own set of notes and rests, and the snare drum has its own rests. In the sheets we mostly work with, we don't do that. There's just a rest on rests in the bar where we don't have notes on any instrument. The sun is shining today, so you can see a little bit of reflection down on the drum set cam there. Hope that's not too distracting. So for example, on line 2, you see a bass drum with a quarter note rest above it, but then next to the bass drum there's another quarter note rest and then a half note rest. But the snare drum is playing during those rests. So it's the bass drum that is resting while the snare drum is playing. I'm probably over-explaining that, but just in case there's any confusion. I'm going to play the first 4 lines, counting quarter notes. I'm not going to be too specific about rights and lefts for this pattern, particularly if you're a left-hand dominant person, you can lead with your left hand. I am going to try and play alternating hands wherever possible. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Next line. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Next line. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Next line. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fairly simple. You see the pattern happening there. Snare drum plays all 4 counts, then bass drum plays 1 count, snare drum plays 3 counts, bass drum plays 2 counts, snare drum plays 2 counts, bass drum plays 3, snare drum plays 1. So the bar is constantly full, but it's different proportions of bass drum and snare drum. The sheet continues for 2 pages with all of the variations of that, and then culminates in a 16-bar exercise that combines them all. So be sure to work through the whole sheet. What I want to talk about, though, is a way to take a sheet like this and apply it to the whole drum set. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take advantage of the fact that there are 4 bars per line, and they're all the same pattern in each bar. And on our set, we have 4 drums we can hit with sticks. So in each bar, I'm going to move my hands to a different drum. Here I go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's more fun, gets you working around the kit, and you'd be surprised how even though it's the same pattern that you were playing on the snare drum, by incorporating having to be in a different spot on the set, it can throw you off a little bit. So it's very good practice. Make sure you're counting and probably practicing slower than I just demonstrated, but I wanted to demonstrate it with enough speed that you can see the shape of it. But practicing slow is always the most important thing. Work on that. The next step with this is that we're going to do a little bit of visualization in the sense that we're going to play something that's not on the page. Imagine, so each line has 4 bars. We're going to work with this idea of 4 notes. And instead of each bar being 4 quarter notes, we're going to imagine each bar as one set of 4 16th notes, so that the line becomes one large bar. So for example, the first line would be this: 1 E and ah, 2 E and ah, 3 E and ah, 4 E and ah. Exactly the same thing we played when we were counting 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're just interpreting it in our time sense as 16th notes. So if you find it challenging to count it as 16th notes, that has nothing to do with the hands and the feet. It has to do with the time sense and the counting and the brain work involved, which is what we practice at the same time. So this is a physical instrument and an intellectual instrument. And the results coming together can be really great. Why are we doing this? Why are we thinking of it as 16th notes even though it's written as quarter notes? Because I want to get into the idea of breaking up a pattern of 4-note pattern between the hands and the feet. So when we play around the set doing these patterns, they can have a sound that almost sounds like a drum fill. It is a drum fill. So what we're going to do is imagine we play 1 bar of a 4/4 beat pattern in between each line. So for example, a very simple beat: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that's 8th notes on the hi-hat: 1, 2, 3, and 4. When we're going to play that beat for 1 bar, and then we're going to play the line from the page. So beat for 1 bar, line 1. Beat for 1 bar, line 2. Beat for 1 bar, line 3. Beat for 1 bar, line 4. All without stopping. Remember that when we get to the sheet lines, those are being played as 16th notes. So I'm just going to do line 1 with the beat and stop so you can see that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 and 2 and. So remember, we're thinking 16th notes, playing 8th notes when we're playing the beat. 1 E and 2 E and etc. The 8th notes on the hi-hat are the number and counts of the 16th notes. 1 E and 2 E and So transitioning between the 16th notes and the 8th notes should be seamless and not require any variation in the tempo of the pulse, of the quarter note pulse of the time signature. This is the exercise. Lines 1 to 4 are fairly straightforward. As you get farther down in the sheet, it becomes a little more complicated because the bass drum is not always the first thing you play in the fill pattern. We get into a habit of always seeing the bass drum on beat 1. Most drum beats we play have the bass drum leading off. So we get into this notion of we're stepping into every bar of music. But of course, that doesn't have to be the case. And you're going to play the bass drum not on count 1 sometimes. And then when we're extrapolating the idea out to the 16th notes, sometimes the bass drum's going to be on the E count, and count, or ah count, not just on the number. So as you go forward in the sheet, lines 5, 6, 7, 8, etc., be aware that that is what's happening. And also, if the bass drum is on the last count of the pattern, for E and ah, when you go back to the beat, for E and ah 1, you'll have to play 2 bass drums in a row because you have a bass drum on 1 in the beat. For E and ah 1, just for an example. So here we go. I'm going to demonstrate this and then leave it up to you and your counting and your practicing and your enjoyment of this. Here we go. This is lines 1, 2, 3, and 4 played as 16th note fills around the set with 1 beat of an 8th note simple timekeeping pattern in between. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1. There you go. Try the whole sheet. If you have questions, let me know. Have fun and enjoy. Thanks very much.